Bring back the fluffy ducks. Fluffy ducks. Nice ducks. Yeah, yes, nice ducks. There we go. Duck power.
So, Christine, apparently you have a smile. Is that correct?
Well, Martyn showed off his crotch for some reason. I'm not really sure during the interview.
Martyn, I thought you said taps right off, and I was like, oh.
I know. I don't know what's happening.
Welcome to another episode of the Neutral Cider Hotel podcast. I am your host, Mr. Gabriel William James Cook, and joining me, as always, Martyn Goodwin-Sharman, Grant Hutchison, and producer Scott. Coming up a little bit later on the show, we'll be chatting with Christine Walter, founder and head cider maker at Bauman's in Portland, Oregon, US of A. We'll also be discussing some of the latest news from around the world of cider, and we're going to wrap things up with a quiz game from Grant. His words, quiz game. Looking forward to that. But first of all, I would like to say that I have nothing to say. Well, it's not that I've got nothing to say. I don't know. I have entered peak middle age. I've bought a house, which I'm so happy about. Got a beautiful child, another one on the way. This is, the time of my life. I was literally sort of scouring my brain for an interesting quip or anecdote to sort of open this conversation. I got nothing. I went on a miniature railway last week. That's all I've got. Can anybody help me riff off that? Is that?
No, just describe it.
It was like a kind of, I'm going to say like 30% reduced sized actual coal-fired steam railway, Perry Grove in the Forest of Dean. Anybody in the UK looking for something to do with the kids for the day? It's wicked. You just go, basically, you trundle around for 20 minutes to a slide at the top, and then your kids get out, you're on the slide, and then you kind of trundle back again. I'm not sure whether it's because
Did you go on the slide? Feels like you
did actually go on the slide. Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, the kids are all on the slide.
Just to test it, to make sure that it was safe for my daughter. Health and safety is absolute priority. And I did go wee quite a lot. I tell you what, there's a very minor incline going up, and I don't know whether it was a new driver or something, but it did struggle. It was skidding at one point. You could see that the wheels were, we did go backwards. It was like in a Thomas the Tank Engine novel where something bad was going to happen, but oh my word. Link it to cider. Forest of Dean, very old traditional seat of cider and perry making, of course. Blakeney Red, that famous perry pear variety, comes from the village of Blakeney there in the forest on the banks of the River Severn. And maybe the most talked about variety on this bloody show, Foxwhelp, that is thought to have come from the Forest of Dean as well. Okay. So there we go. Always loop it back around. Has anybody done anything more interesting than that in the last few days?
You did a sub shack on pears.
I did a Substack. Obviously, everybody's going to
there you go, stack.
Sub Shack, Love Shack, B52s. No, it's the B-side. Yeah, just again, very luckily, just literally on the other side of the river here is this village, Home Lacey, with all the antiquity of Lord Scudamore and Herefordshire Red Streak and all that kind of stuff. But there's this pear tree, which was written about in 1790 as covering 3/4 of an acre and cropping 5 to 7 tons. Now, that obviously just doesn't make sense as a singular tree. It's like the bloody mother tree from Avatar or something like Home Tree or whatever it's called. But what it is, apparently this variety, the Home Lacey pear, it kind of grew branches that then ran along the ground, would root, and then pop up effectively like new independent trunks. So you'd get almost like an orchard, but of ostensibly a singular tree. And this was supposed to like sat down at the old rectory next to the church. That doesn't exist anymore. But in the middle of in the 1870s, and then again in a book in 1912, it talks about there being like a separate little, well, not little, grove plantation of another tree a few hundred meters away by the river, and that remains. I went to go and visit it, and there it is. And, you know, it's, I don't know how old that one is. It's got to be at least a couple of 100 years old. And yeah, you've got these like 8 sort of chunks kind of popping up, but it is just one tree. It's a weird one.
It looks insane. That video looked like, I thought you'd release that in April as like a joke. It looked otherworldly. And the fact that that's like part of Perry culture, cider culture as a whole. Lovely.
Yeah. It's
lovely little story, mate.
Oh, cheers, man. Well,
It's kind of Last of Us. Like the mushroom that kind of goes underground and it's all one being and it kind of takes over people's bodies. Sounds like maybe
yes, I like
we
that.
could all be pear trees at some point.
Yes. If you were going to be a pear variety, what pear would you be? Interesting question.
But
of course. I mean, it goes without saying.
Champagne.
You'd be a what, Grant?
Champagne.
That's not a pear.
Yes.
Champagne pear.
Maybe we should ask the Perryologist for his opinion on this.
let me check.
Is this is live Google, people? Is champagne the name of a pear variety?
But maybe not pear.
No, champagne pears, baby. He's
The
right.
champagne pear, Grant.
Gabe, you were wrong.
I stand corrected. Look, I'd like to take the opportunity to reflect upon my errors of my way and my foolishness and my smugness to suggest that champagne wasn't indeed a pear. Give up my title of the Perryologist.
Hand it over.
I now pass on the baton, the laxative-soaked baton to Grant, and may he take it forth and use it wisely.
Title? Fucking laxative-soaked.
Laxative-soaked. Oh.
Well, you know, the old pears, they do have maybe this is a horse of knowledge moment. Producer Scott putting you on the spot here. Can you find it? What's it going to be?
It is.
It's slightly disappointing. I hope it was going to be something random. Yeah, surely we've talked about this before, but just as a recap for anybody who's new to listening, that the horse of knowledge is the call to give us some actual real cider and perry insight rather than just waffle like we normally do. And that, pears contain sorbitol, an unfermentable sugar, which means that they retain a natural residual sweetness, sometimes a little bit, sometimes quite a lot. And if consumed in large quantities, sorbitol can induce a laxative effect.
So, Gabe, you've just said horse of knowledge for people who might not know, maybe getting into perry and cider.
Is
this the image? Is this what we want to give them?
Laxative
advice.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I mean, I'm going to say that
some people need it. You know, I mean, maybe that's the market that they need to go for
as an actual laxative. I mean, it could do. I mean, it's better. It's
so
better.
You're telling me that Adam wrote a tome on laxative and not a beautiful, fragranced, gorgeous fruit.
We had Adam in a few weeks ago for a tasting in Aeble, and he claimed that was a myth.
I'm telling you, it's not. We did a perry episode
from very, very personal experience, which I won't go into too much detail, other than.
Wait. Do we have to call the cow of reconsideration into this discussion?
Oh my goodness! He's throwing that one on us there.
I think
unexpectedly.
I think the cow might have come into the barn. So yes, we're not going to reconsider because
every decision is final.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can attest to it as well.
There you go.
After having done a tasting of 5 perries, every other word that came out of Adam's mouth, absolute gospel truth, super interesting, brilliant tasting, and a real eye opener for everyone here. It was amazing. But yeah, perry, definitely. What is it? Go on, Gabe. Use your phrase.
Laxative-soaked baton.
Goes down.
So the old phrase is that Perry goes down like sunshine, round and round like thunder, and comes out like lightning. Watch out, people! Watch out, people!
Ticketed tasting that looked like brilliantly marketed is for this liquid. Gives out like thunder.
Yeah.
Well, the tasting also finished with a real doomsday discussion on fire blight.
Oh yeah.
And how it's going to end all Perry.
Do you want to do that horse of knowledge there, Scott?
Producer Scott, bring it in.
It was pretty sad. Like, yeah. I mean, you should definitely talk about it, Gabe, because I mean, you're more knowledgeable on it than I would be. But
sure, it's fire blight. It's a disease caused by bacteria, which exists within the broader rosacea family to which apples and pears sit in. And it seems that pears especially are really susceptible to it. And basically it just, it kind of gets in and infects like a branch or something. And it kills it. You'll see this brown thing and it will just spread and it will take the tree. And I think it thrives particularly on warm and wet conditions. So, over the last sort of 2-3 years, we've had, great swings between very, very wet and then very, very warm. So it's been particularly bad. And if you want to speak to somebody about the sort of the pain that it's caused them, then Adam would attest to, down poor old Albert and Mike and everybody at Ross Cider Company. It's sort of decimating the lovely pear orchard that Mike planted in the 1980s. All the gin has gone. That seems to be really susceptible to it. I think the Moorcroft is all sort of gone. So yeah, it's really sad and it's a real risk. I do believe that it originated in North America. So Scott, thanks. That's all I can
Scott.
say. Yeah. And thanks to actually 50% of our listeners as well, who are also from North America. We value your listenership, but God damn you for bringing your dirty bacteria over here. The really scary thing is that there have been an increased number of instances of it starting to pop up in the tannic fruit, the bittersweet fruit. And if that takes hold there, then that's industry wiping potential. What was it with grapes? Phylloxera, wasn't it? So
what previously it was just Perry.
Pears are particularly susceptible to it, more so than the average apple. But such are the challenges of the current sort of climate conditions of being warm and wet that there have been a few examples of it starting to get into apples and into cider apples.
Boring.
Yeah, sorry. My flow of boring bacterial conversation was interrupted by a very nice audible pop in the background.
Want to know what it is?
Yeah.
So my news, I've been scouring town for a bottle of Christine Smile.
Christine Smile. Beautiful. How apt that you have opened a bottle of Christine Smile. We will be speaking with the eponymous Christine very shortly on the show. This is a cider produced by Mr. Oliver. We'll be discussing this with Christine in a bit as to, I'm not sure that anybody else in the world has had a cider named after them in their honor by the legendary wizard that is Tom Oliver. So that's quite a coup. I feel a bit jealous, I have to say. But how does it taste?
Also a little bit creepy. Can I just put it out there? But yeah, sure. Let's go.
I think you did. Tom, great fan of the show, first guest, hopeful sponsor. Yeah. So yeah, let's put that out there. That's great.
I'll take it back. It's fine.
No, don't take it back. Tom can, he will get him on the show to explain himself one day, I'm sure. Now this is a good couple of years old now. So how is it aging?
The structure is what stands out more of anything in it. So it's like really carbonated. It's not as much moussey as it is kind of like, it's super, I don't know how else to say it other than fuzzy, where it's just like tannin and carbonation. You're like proper going.
Yeah.
And yeah, what I want to ask her when we actually interview her in a moment is, is that made for her? Or did he just name something because it was like, oh, that's nice and fun? I'll name it after her smile, her eyes.
Isn't it quite bitter? Like, it's not like some kind of like weird in joke by Tom, is it? There's like, yes, yeah. It's bitter.
It does.
A bitter smile.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what? It actually doesn't. It tastes like, I mean, it's Tom, isn't it? So let's just fuck this off and move on.
Producer Scott, what's been happening on your side of the pond? Anything worthy of note?
Nothing. It's been real quiet over here. Just,
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Just another quiet day in North America.
Pretty much nothing in the news, no politics. It's just real, kind of par for the course, actually. Although I will say there's been a little bit of music I've been a tiny bit obsessed with recently. There's this artist named Chapel Rowan. I don't know if you guys are familiar, if she's over there yet. She is a pop artist that kind of went from 0 to 10,000 in the span of a year. I mean, she's been out there making music for a decade, but some of the stats for her, like at the beginning of the year, she had about 1 million monthly streams on Spotify, and I think now she's up over 70 million a month.
So really needs our help.
Yeah, really. Well, I just
if you're listening,
everything we talk about isn't a plug here. I know you guys fall into that category, but I do not. I just talk about things I like. So no, I just think she's great. That's all.
Speaking of music and musicians, or children of musicians, Producer Scott found a photo of Paris Jackson and sporting a little frightened rabbit tattoo amongst many other tattoos. And so she's a big fan of the band. What are the chances of getting her here on the Neutral Cider Hotel? What do we think?
Yeah, maybe.
Just because she's got the same tattoo as Brett.
It would be another teetotaler. Which seems to be a bit of a thread.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent on this show.
Yeah, pretty consistent that the people who are going to pull in the most listeners don't drink cider or anything.
No, I think we should go the opposite way and only get guests like Ed Byrne who have made cider. So Jacob Rees-Mogg, he's someone who...
Yes, that's right.
Has he?
Yeah, he drank his cider with Nigel Farage on GB News, and you could see them both like... Made in Britain. Cheers.
Wince.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Well, he's got a bit of time on his hands these days, isn't he? So he might be up for it. You never know.
No. You see, Gabe, that's terribly wrong. That's absolutely false information.
It's been a long time.
Here he is. Just dialed in.
Did you ever see the original Ali G interviews on the 11 o'clock show from way back in the late 90s? And he interviewed a very young Jacob Rees-Mogg.
No way.
I haven't seen it for a long time, but I remember it long before he became a politician or I became aware of him in public life. It would be fascinating to see that. So maybe that's everybody's...
Why did he interview him then?
I think it was...
a posh guy.
I think it was talking about the aristocracy, effectively. Yes,
right,
and he was willing to be a mouthpiece for it. So good on him. And obviously, Ali G was very silly and very naughty and very good fun.
Proper Boy Akashar moment.
Proper Boy Akashar. God, the late 90s when you could get away with a lot. Who remembers Bo Selector? Okay, moving on. All right, I think we better wrap up there. Let's keep things moving. Now, let's see what's happening in the news. But first, a word from our sponsor. This episode of the Neutral Cider Hotel has been kindly sponsored by our dear friends at PressThenPress.com. This is the most amazing online cider shop for cider drinkers in the USA. And it features 500 plus craft ciders from lots of different states across the USA and indeed internationally. Yes, there's a bit of an extra weighting on Pacific Northwest and Californian ciders, but there's stuff from all over the place. And by being able to ship to 42 out of the 50 states, it means that nearly everybody can get a hold of these amazing drinks. They put some considerable thought into curated bundles for people who are trying to make easy decisions, or for folks in the know, you can build your own selection. Scott, tell us, you've bought some cider from PressThenPress.com. What was your experience?
Yes. Well, look, one of the things that's really challenging about this show is you guys talk about ciders all the time, and I can't run down to my shop and go get it. It's really frustrating. So Press Than Press is one of those places for us in the States where when we hear about a cider, often we can find it on their site and get it. And I have done that many times in the past. It's super easy. You could sort by country. You could sort by style. You could find the ciders you want, often the ones we're talking about here, and get them in your house, which is the most important thing, because I will say, as an American listener to this show, even though I'm also a participant, it's frustrating when you guys talk about all of these unctuous, as you like to say, ciders, and I can't drink them because I can't get them. So Press Than Press is that solution.
That's it. Many unctuous ciders available there. And for our dear listeners, you, our dear listeners, we have created a special discount code. Simply use the word HOTEL, that's capital HOTEL, at checkout, and you can get $25 off the first box of cider for anybody who subscribes to one of PressThenPress.com's cider clubs, whether it be the classic Press Then Press Cider Club or the Northwest Cider Club. Both contain 6 sensational ciders curated around a theme. What a fantastic deal. At checkout, use the code HOTEL, HOTEL. Thanks once again to our friends at PressThenPress.com. And now it's time for the news, and we're doing an old school classic news segment here. Finally, we're here. We're getting into some of the juicy stories of the recent past. Martyn, I'm going to throw it over to you because you've got, well, something quite interesting, a little bit sad maybe. What's it all about?
Yeah. Well, I was reading previous guest Matt Curtis's Pellicle article on We'll Miss You, Good Beer Hunting. So Good Beer Hunting, a kind of beer journalism media outlet that started in 2009. And for my whole time in craft beer was like the kind of pillar of kind of beer writing and that professional angle at the start of craft beer. And especially American audience, UK audience, it kind of did both really well. And they announced they're shutting down. They're going on a pretty much indefinite hiatus. And I think a real blow to kind of drinks journalism. And definitely it's one more so as well, an angle. Matt Curtis, who was a previous guest, he was one of the staff at one point and quit and then set up Pellicle with Johnny. So it's an interesting article to read about like his view looking back on a time, you know, when you're in your sort of 20s and you're doing stuff that you look back on, you're like, fucking hell, it's crazy. So interesting read. Horrible that they're closing down, but hopefully there is some extra journalism. And with us returning, come on, it's the best of the drinks business.
It's fine. It's barely going to be missed, I would say.
We fill the hole so well.
We fill the void.
God.
Yeah. We could maybe like feature a beer 1 week or something. help that industry out a little bit.
It would be our most popular episode, wouldn't it? That's what's worse.
Yeah. Should we do it? Yeah. Should we do a beer episode?
Oof. I wonder what the good listeners of the Neutral Cider Hotel would make of that. Would they revolt?
Would Johnny
be throwing the TV out the window?
Surely Johnny Mills we could get away with.
Yeah, we could get away with Johnny Mills. Someone who like brews and makes cider at the same time. Yeah, really, really, you know, sad news. The ostensibly like invented the sort of deep dive and long form piece, investigating and telling all the anything that's like storytelling about amazing Belgian beers or Kveikheist from Norway, and just all these great things that you would never otherwise kind of like know. It's all kind of stemmed from there. So, Michael Kaiser, thank you very much for your service and your contribution towards our little bit of industry. And there were plenty of cider articles written in there as well. It wasn't just exclusively beer as it happened. So, yeah, there were a few chances in there. Thanks very much. Moving on to even bleaker story from.
I thought that was dour.
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
What is this?
I'm gonna.
Well, Martyn got one about death.
Hang on. This one is. It's not death. It's just pestilence. We've got infestation of Ermine moth across a lot of orchards in the UK at the moment. Ermine moth, which. It is a moth that makes a bit of like a sort of a web in the foliage and causes issue. Burrow Hill down in Somerset have issued some photos and did a bit of a press release showcasing the level of devastation of their orchards. Kind of like 50% of the trees have been just swallowed and consumed. There's no harm to the tree long term. It's just that they will not be producing any fruit this year. Ooh. So, that's going to massively impact upon
Glastonbury next year.
Well, I was going to say, that cider bus will be running low. They'll be importing loads of cheap concentrates. Fine, they can make it anyhow, I'm sure. So I'm only joking. They won't do that.
I was going to say, you God. Sassy bitch.
Yeah, I know.
They could do, but they wouldn't, of course. Big fan of, especially of the spirits. Somerset Cider Brandy is the spirit arm of Burrow Hill, and that Somerset Cider Brandy it's some of my favourite spirits, I think, to drink full stop. And their Somerset Pomona, their version of the interpretation of a Pomo, so cut 50-50, the spirit with juice.
The ice cider is incredible. The
ice cider is, I'd say my favourite UK ice cider.
Even just the bottle condition like Stoke Red, Kingston Black, bang it. Now it's gone into an advert. You feel guilty. This is guilt.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
Tell us about the moth. Tell us about the moth.
Oh, I don't know. What's it called? It's called
Gary.
Oh God.
Gaza, stop. Coming everywhere.
The family Eponomutidae with a silent Y at the front, that's easy, are known as the ermine moths. There are several hundred species, most of them in the tropics and Somerset. The larvae tend to form communal webs. So it's a nice little social group. And some are minor pests in agriculture, forestry, and horticulture. There we go. Oh, it's a little white moth with nice little polka dot spots on. There we go. Anyway, going even further into the southern part of the UK, Somerset, there's some ducky action going on down there. If we were to head all the way down into Dorset, if you were down there the other week, you might have come across Dorset Nectar, a cider farm near Bridport, where they hosted the 2024 World Nettle Eating Championships. I have a recollection that I might have talked about this a couple of years ago, or even 3 years ago. But obviously I need to give you the update on what happened this year.
They're all dead.
And well,
don't.
Oh my God.
They're just a little stingy of mouth. So the winner of the women's competition, Beth Hodges, she retained her title. Apparently what you do, it's how many you pick off the nettle leaves, and you have to sort of strip it, and the greatest length that you have stripped, so you've consumed, that determines who is the winner. So Beth Hodges, she consumed 19.5 meters worth, that's 64 feet of nettles. And the gents champion, Tom Wheeler from London, he ate 116 feet worth, 35.4 meters worth of nettle stalks.
God.
35 meters.
35 meters. But wait, you've got there's a great quote here. So Ms. Hodges, who travelled from Wales, said she was surprised and happy to have won again, although her hands were still painful. My voice is also an octave or two deeper, and I'm a bit huskier, she said. I did really sting the inside of my mouth, and your tongue goes a really funny colour, but I was concentrating more on the pain in my hands, so I probably forgot about my mouth. The dryness is the tricky thing, and chewing them, I think it depends what the weather's been doing. This year, they were a bit hard to chew. goodness me.
Nah.
There we go.
No.
No,
That's just stupid. Sorry. That's just stupid.
Yeah, this is actually all a lie. Gabe is reading someone drinking straight Foxwell Ponte.
that's right. It is. It's
Yeah.
tongue, funny color, burning sensation. Well, it's just in the pantheon
I
of
just can't even imagine that.
all of those pantheon. In Newen, the town that it's not quite the same, but the town that next door to Dimmock and where I went to high school, they have an onion festival every year, including an onion eating competition. So you get like a giant raw white onion, and it's who can eat the most in a minute or something like that. I've always been tempted. I've never
onions aren't actually bad raw. Like, this is a weird people like I think Darren Brown was saying it, where there's like tricks you can do which aren't tricks, where if you hypnotize someone and say eat this whole onion, people go, oh my god. You're like, you have that on salad. Like, it's like such a fine thing. But I imagine speed eating an onion is a different game.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the competitive hot dog eating competitions in the States?
Every year, baby.
Wow. Isn't the winner like eating 45 or 48 in 10 minutes?
What's his name?
Like that?
He's famous in it.
Didn't he stop?
Yeah, this is his last year.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He didn't enter it this year because he got sponsored by someone that I think it was
controversy.
Yeah.
Oof. So what? He was barred from entering.
Hold on, let me
I
find
can't
it.
remember what it was. It was something.
Grant, why didn't you put this in the show notes so that we'd have the information?
Damn it.
Why didn't you know we were going to talk about this?
Are you looking this up?
Yeah,
of course he is.
Trying.
Calculating.
Here it is. Yeah. Let me look into that. 16-time champion Joey Chestnut has been banned from the annual Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest in Coney Island due to his new partnership with Impossible Foods.
Yeah, that's right. It's vegan.
Yeah.
There you go. Open invitation. If Joey Chestnut wants to come on and drink cider, we'll happily have Joey Chestnut on.
And we'll all eat Impossible hot dogs.
Just got to make sure that it's vegan friendly cider, no honey being added to it. Obviously, that would be imperative, and no rats as well. No rats.
What, are you on a mission this week, Gabe, to destroy the image of cider? What has happened? You're usually. Have we swapped roles? What is?
I know.
You are quite Percy positive today as well. Yeah.
I don't know. It's because I've slept.
Wow.
1 royal hour. He just slept until 7:30 this morning. I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you're noticing my skin has tanned, this is... For listeners, this is horrifically lit. I look like a paper ghost. It's not good.
All right, that's enough of death and slagging off the industry that we love. That's enough for now. Up next, our conversation with Christine Walter of Bauman Cider. And now it's time to bring on our special guest. Today we are speaking with quite possibly the best cider maker in the USA right now. But don't take my word for it. This woman and her company just keep on winning award after award. In the last 6 months alone, she has won the Best Dry Tannic Cider at both the International Cider Awards and at Glintcap, the de facto US Cider Championships, and also picked up the Best Product in Show, like the full sort of Best in Show Crufts Award at the Northwest Cider Cup as well. And now with one of the hottest cider and food spaces anywhere in the world, things are being taken up a notch. She is also, to my reckoning, the only cider maker to have had a cider named after them by none other than the legendary Mr. Tom Oliver. Do you know who it is yet? It gives me great pleasure to welcome Christine Walter from Bauman Cider onto the podcast. Christine, welcome to the Neutral Cider Hotel. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is really like that thing that you wait your whole life to get to be on the
Really?
Neutral Cider Hotel.
This is the thing.
This is it right here. Yeah.
You need to set your sights higher, my friend.
Yeah, please don't stop making cider now. That would be a terrible thing.
Yeah.
My work here is done.
It's done. Yeah.
Don't peak now. There is a lot more to come. Where are you today, Christine? Are you in Portland? You're at home?
Today I am in Portland. I'm at my house because it's a little loud at the cidery today. They're doing a lot of production things, and we're gearing up for harvest time. So we're trying to race. I mean, it's almost August.
What do you have? What's harvestable in August? What are you picking?
Getting ready.
Gravensteins.
Man, I didn't realize they were super early. That's crazy.
They are super early. I picked one off the tree last week and it was very tart, but I tell you, like another 2-3 weeks of very hot days and they'll be just right.
Oh, it would grow in the UK then, because we've had only boiling hot days here. We've literally had 2 days of summer the whole time. It's been the worst year ever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's going to be some low ABV ciders coming up.
Well, that apparently is what the consumer wants, isn't it? So it's just as well naturally done. Yeah.
It's all playing together nicely.
That's what was supposed to happen. But Gravenstein is originally it's a Danish variety, I think, at first, and it's and it's prospered across all of sort of Scandinavia. So it's pretty suited to a kind of a cooler climate. So dare I say that the Pacific West Coast is actually a bit of a sort of alien space for it. But it was a big apple for a time, especially down in California, wasn't it, around Sebastopol and stuff?
It was, and it is the tree that when you got your kit from Sears Roebuck, as a homesteader in the Western United States. That's a big store of late, and you got your how to build a house and a barn, and you got your Gravenstein seedlings. Every old homestead has a Gravenstein tree.
Right. There you go.
So there you go.
Obviously it's no Newtown Pippin, which is Martyn's favorite, obviously. So, do you grow any Newtown Pippin, Christine?
As a kid, we grew Newtown Pippin. We grew it. But no, I think my grandpa pulled it out back in the probably 90s. And I'm not sure why, trends.
Well, we are.
Well,
I don't know what happened there. I don't want to wait too long to open the bottle of cider that you've sent us.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
That's what I was going to say. And interestingly enough, it's a single variety. Do we all have the same bottle? Actually, I'm just checking.
Yep, the Gravenstein.
We do. Yeah. Yes, very funny. We've all got the same one. Single variety, Kingston Black. So how Kingston Black again on the west coast of the US?
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Boy, I wasn't ready for that. I should have prepped. Kingston Black. How do I come about it? Somebody from England must have done it. It's a Somerset apple. No. Yeah. Somerset.
Yeah.
Somerset. And when I got interested in cider, I started making cider professionally 8.5 years ago, and at home 10, 11 years ago. Kingston Black was this apple of lore. It was the everything apple that everybody wanted. And back then it was very hard to find it. Now, in the Northwest, we make a lot of cider, and we are the highest per capita consumption of cider in the US, which is great. It's a nice audience. And so all of that to say, Kingston Black was one that everybody wanted, and then everybody planted, and now you can get it. So we grow, we probably have a row of Kingston Black in our orchard, and there are many small orchardists nearby in our valley, the Willamette Valley, that grow Kingston Black. So there's a lot of access.
And you've made the point of making this a single variety. Tell us what we're tasting in this bottle.
Exactly. Kingston Black, 100% spontaneously fermented, no additives. This is our most like hands-off cider that we do. No yeast, no sulfites, no funny business. I mean, not that sulfites are funny business. Sorry.
What makes you do that with this apple or this cider?
Well, given all of its attributes, both the high sugar, the high acid, and the rich tannins, it is most protected from any of the devils of fermentation. You know, it doesn't oxidize as bad or as readily. It resists bacterial infection. It resists malolactic fermentation. There are just like so many things going for Kingston Black, and it gets a pretty high ABV. I think that this batch that you have is probably close to 8.
7.5, yeah.
7.5. And so it just goes. It's like what, you know, apples want to become what this cider is.
Mm.
And what's the US response, US cider drinkers' response to a cider like this? You know, obviously over here it would be something that's pretty, well, not readily available in supermarkets or anything, but in cider drinking places, a single variety Kingston Black's going to be one that you see a fair amount of, but probably not where you are, right? So
well, where I am, we see a lot of it because I'm in cider drinker territory, right? Like and Oregon is Oregon, Washington, like the Pacific Northwest, we are so craft centric. We are so, you know, into specialized alcohols, into small producers. And so people generally know about Kingston Black here. And this Kingston Black that you're drinking is the one that won the what I hold as the best category to win in, you know, the tannic dry cider at the Great Lakes International Cider and Perry Cup this year. Best in show, which was a huge accomplishment. I mean, up until now being on the podcast, probably one of the greatest things in my life.
Well, I'm just going to say it. It is fucking sublime. It is fucking sublime. It is a joke.
Thank you, Martyn. I have to say, though, my goal last year was that I wanted to make funkier things, and you can tell this is not super funky.
Well, you failed.
Yeah.
I failed. I know.
Rubbish.
I failed.
Absolutely rubbish. For a spontaneously fermented cider, you need to come to the UK, come and rootle around some old barns, gather some yeast and bacteria and stuff it in your pockets and take it back home with you, because this is just pure fruit. It's incredible. For, you know, the Kingston Blacks you get over here that are spontaneously fermented, you know, you can get that fruitiness in there, but it comes with a whole heap of that medicinal character, and there's just not a hint of it here. And well, it's testament to you, and also testament to the person who actually, you've got somebody very specifically who works on your kind of small batch project, which is a pretty cool thing, because Bauman's, you've got sort of different attributes to the business in terms of having great ciders that are easy drinking in cans and kegs and things like that, and then the slightly more experimental things like this. So you sort of divide down and treat them quite separately, it would seem.
Yes. I'm not going to tell you her real name because people would try and steal her, and she's never seen in public without the fuzzy thing happening, because
Does she wear a veil or something? That's a bit weird.
Jennifer is pretty spectacular as a cider maker, and she actually got to go to the UK with me last was it in the fall, the summer, sometime anyway.
August.
Yeah, and I brought her so that she could stuff her pockets full of dirty British things that she could throw in the tank with the Kingston Black. So look for that next year. In a year from now, we'll be having some funk. But yeah, she just, in addition to being receptive to learning all the things, you know, like when she came to work for Bauman's 4 years ago, she had never made cider before. She was a Bauman's fan and showed up. It was the funniest thing, you know. Back then you would put an ad on the internet for a job posting, and you would get hundreds of resumes right away. And that's how like all these resumes came in and it's so overwhelming. And I just happened to see Jen's first. And I was like, oh, this person sounds interesting, because I think her cover letter said, I am the biggest Bauman's fan. And I was like, well, she's so smart. We should hire her. Has great taste. So anyways, I picked it out right away, but then I was so overwhelmed that I didn't call anybody back who had sent in resumes. And maybe 3 days later, she showed up at the farm. And I get a call up front and I say, somebody's here for a job. And I went up front and I said, I'm sorry, who are you? And she hands me her paper resume and she says, I sent this in and I never heard from you, but I just wanted to make sure you got it. And I looked at it and I was like, great. Do you want to start today? And I literally, it was like, that was what I needed, somebody to make that decision for me. And from day one, she has been eager to learn and a quick learner, and best of all, has the best palate of anybody on the team. Like she, has such a sensitivity to faults and flaws, and is fabulous. So yeah, I'm very fortunate.
When and where did your cider journey start then?
Well, I was in rural Alaska in a bar. And they had a pretty meager selection of alcohols to choose from. And I, being from the Northwest, I was like, looking for some kind of fun IPA or some crafty something rather. They had zero craft. It was all, pretty big brand, shitty beer. And can I say? I think I can say shitty.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not on the BBC yet.
We're trying.
So a lot of shitty beer and no wine. And I had never had a cider before. I had never considered a cider before. Probably never been, within range of a cider. And I was like, a cider. And it was an American cider. And I ordered it and I drank it. And I was like, this is just apples, you say? Like fermented apples. I grew up on an apple farm. Like, where was this my whole life? That we didn't ever think to ferment it?
Teenagers not thinking of that.
I know. Well, I'll tell you what. One of the first things I thought about as I started then making cider, I went to my family and I was like, you guys, I have the answer. You can all stop working so hard on all these other crops. Like, we're going to ferment the apple juice. And they said, that'll never work. That's a fad. Nobody's going to drink cider. Nobody's going to buy cider. It's impossible. You'll never get a license. And I was like, I think you're wrong. I'm just going to go ahead. And so I started to dig into it. I went to a local cider makers meetup at a bar where like several professional cider makers, Nat and Nick Gunn and Abram, they all, Oregon cider makers, they were there. And then a whole mess of amateur cider makers, home cider makers sitting there, arguing over yeast strains and, all the things. And I literally watched them like have this heated argument about their favorite yeast strains. Nerd. And I thought, I love these people. They are nerds. They are super nerds. And I'd never been around people like that before that would like get impassioned and almost throw punches over a yeast strain. So I knew then that I had arrived at where I was hoping to go. So then I just dove headlong into it. And I dropped a thread a minute ago in the conversation. I said I was going to come back to that. It's gone. Forget about it. It'll come back around. The merry-go-round comes back around.
I just like the idea of Reverend Nat getting Abram like into a headlock or something like that, and sort of give him like a sort of knuckle scrunch on his head to say, "No, EC111 is the best." That kind of thing.
It was Nick Gunn throwing down with DV10. Said DV10, and Abram just throws back his chair and says, "What? What are you talking about? You can't say that to these amateur cider makers. You're going to make them all make the same cider. That's bullshit." And it was so beautiful. So I tear up.
Well, Gosh, that sounds so much more exciting than the cider maker meetups over here.
I was going to say.
So then, Gerald, what plastic barrel did you use this year?
Same as we use every year.
What's the yeast?
Yeah.
Whatever's under me fingernails.
Ooh, maybe that's the way to get some funky stuff, is to go and meet some wizened old cider maker from Dorset. You've been down to Wilkins, right? Maybe you just need to.
I sure have.
Maybe you just need to like stroke your hand through Roger's lovely hair, and just then not wash that hand on the entirety of the flight home. Try and get through quarantine.
Is this what we're doing for cider making this week, Gabe? You are determined to ruin the image of cider. Christine, all episode this has been. All episode.
I think what it's all been is that knowing that we would be speaking to and tasting ciders made from somebody who's, the ciders are just like pure precision fruit, just pure expression. And maybe I'm just feeling a bit down on UK ciders. Like they're just not all of them. Most of them are as good. I don't know what
that's not true. I could think of quite a few English ciders that I would like to have in my glass right now. Wow.
Tell us.
Yeah, let's go for it. Do it. Yeah.
What makers in the UK are you inspired by?
There's this one guy, what's his name? In a barn, and it has some sort of a band connection or something like that. He's got all these barrels and one wall where you can see the wall is just big enough for a barrel. It's like the barrel wedged out this wall. But anyways, Tom Oliver, I think is his name. One of my favorite cider makers.
Big fan of your smile, it seems.
Never heard of him.
How did we end up with a name of a cider, Christine? Smile. Come on, there's a story there.
There's so much of a story. For starters, when I first poured my very first commercial cider, it was in 2016, February 5th or 6th, and CiderCon, which is the national or international cider convention that we have here in the U.S. CiderCon was in Portland that year, and I went to it, and I was launching my cider company on the Friday night of CiderCon. So there's all these cider makers in town, and there's this cool little cider bar in Portland it's said to have been the oldest cider bar in the U.S. I don't know about that. It may be. I don't mean to cast aspersions there. It probably was. But anyways, that's where my launch party was, the Friday night of CiderCon. And I'm just as green as can be. I've made my first, the night before this event, I sat there looking at a keg, trying to figure out how you get the cider into the keg because it didn't seem to open. I thought it would just unscrew and pour in, and that was not the way it works. And it was a big mess. And I almost lost a gallon of the 5 gallons that I had made that year. So all of that to say, I'm sitting there, chipper and young and pouring my cider, and my sales or my business consultant says, "Christine, Tom Oliver just walked in the door." And I said, "Who is that? Who the fuck is that? What are you talking about?" And he says, "He is the greatest cider maker in the world." And I was looking around, and he says, He's coming over. Get ready. When you hand him a glass, I'm going to take your picture." And so that's how it went down. And we have this photo. I should have had it framed, but it's blown up now. It's the wallpaper in our room. So, but anyways, that picture of me handing Tom the cider and that whole thing was when I first met Tom. And then a year and a half later, I was so fortunate as to go to England with a group from the Northwest Cider Association of cider makers going to learn about keeving. And we went to both Normandy, Brittany, and West Country, England. And I met Tom Oliver again, and I got to go to Tom's place and see where he makes cider and speak about a precision, clean laboratory of science right there. It's somewhere on the spectrum of Bauman's to Roger Wilkins is Tom Oliver. But anyways, went there, spent some time, loved everything he was doing. He inspired me with a single varietal Stoke Red cider, which to this day was one of those moments where you're like, wow, like how did you make that happen? It's so magical. And to have it be just apples. Anyways, so then fast forward, I had come over for to the UK to judge in the International Cider Awards. Thank you, Gabe. And that was in Derby. And when I came back to collect an award from that in London, I texted Tom and I said, oh yeah, I had texted him when I went over for the judging and I said, hey, I'd love to see you. And he said, sorry, I'm in Spain. And I was like, oh, I see how it is. It's over. So,
what a bitch.
No. And so I didn't see him that time. But when I came back a few months later to collect the award, then I texted him again. And at that time, England was just kind of opening up and starting to move again after the pandemic. And so I said, I'll be there. I'd love to grab lunch. And he said, do you fancy a road trip? Well, how do you not fancy a road trip with Tom Oliver as the pandemic is ending? And he said, I haven't seen, the countryside. I haven't seen the cider makers in years. And now it's time. So he logistics managed this entire little road trip all around, Devon and Somerset and Bristol and Herefordshire, like all the great cider places in that part of the world. And we met so many cider makers and had such an amazing time. And literally I'm just like collecting the morsels of wisdom just falling away from him. And it was so special. And at the end of it, I just sat there going like, I don't know how I am so lucky as to have just experienced these days traveling around and meeting cider makers in the UK with none other than Tom Oliver. And so then the next time I saw him was in Bristol, and he said, you know what, I made something for you to commemorate our trip, and it's not ready yet. And I totally, people tell me that all the time, but I thought he was pulling my leg. And then he sent me a picture maybe a month later, and he's wearing the exact shirt that Martyn has on right now. I don't know how you guys switch shirts like that, but he was wearing a Bauman cider t-shirt, and he's holding a bottle. And I saw that and I was like, oh, looks like you're ready for your first day at Bauman's. I didn't even notice what the bottle said, but it said Oliver's Fine Cider and Perry and Christine's Smile. And I didn't notice. And I sent the picture to a cider maker friend, and he said, oh my God, Christine, he did it. He made a cider for you. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I zoomed in on it because Scott had been there to hear Tom tell the story that he had made something, but it wasn't ready. Okay. And I, wow, that was amazing. But then there's this big worry, like, what if it sucks? What if I drink that cider? And I'm like,
there's a definite risk.
So thoughtful. Anyways, it would have told me a lot. So I dare say it's one of my favorite ciders. Quite lovely.
Well, Martyn's been drinking it tonight.
He managed to track down a bottle.
Martyn's been sipping on your smile this evening.
What do you think, Martyn?
Do you know what? I'll tell you what.
How tasty is Christine's Smile?
It tastes even nicer with the socks.
Oh, you got the Bauman. Oh, Martyn is fully
as branded up as I could be.
For the listeners at home, Martyn is fully branded with Bauman's t-shirt and even
show your new tattoo, Martyn. Go on, show your new tattoo.
Well, unfortunately,
is there a picture of Christine's face on your buttock? Is that what?
That's where the smile is.
What does your lovely good wife think of that? Oh my word! I'm going to take things a little bit down a different path. Obviously, family, Christine, is a very important thing for you. This farm, excuse me, this farm that you grew up on has been in the Bauman family for many generations, and you, as well as the cider enterprise, which until fairly recently was entirely based on the farm. It's a big fruit farm, and it's one of your sort of these sort of agricultural entertainment kind of places that you do so well in the USA?
Mm-hmm. So the farm was homesteaded by my great-grandmother, Elizabeth, great-great-grandmother, Elizabeth, and her two sons. And they came out in 1895 to the Willamette Valley and did the thing, got the Sears Roebuck house kit and planted the Gravenstein tree, and then went about, doing the kinds of enhancements to the land to make it satisfy that rule, whatever homesteading thing is, and planted the orchards. So those orchards were still around when I was a kid. And so has been farmed in my generation. I'm the 5th generation.
Gabe, you're muted.
Okay. Trying to have a wee cough.
Sorry, I did have the cough. And going through the fab website of the farm side of things rather than the cider company, lots of lovely old photos of family, etc. So I was sort of scrolling through and seeing there's photos of Stephen, and there's like an old truck, and there's some lovely old orchards. And then I came across a photo which I've shared with the guys, and I'm going to share with you now, Christine. I don't know whether you've got your phone to hand at all.
Oh.
It's a particularly creepy photo, I would say, of lovely young Ethel and Louise Bauman, who I don't know how which horror movie? Which horror movie? These are two young girls dressed in what look like it's like Midsummer. It's like Midsummer.
All of the horror movies and The Shining.
Yeah.
They're dressed in sort of like not quite wedding dresses, but with little sort of crowns
First Communion.
on.
First Communion.
First Communion. There we go.
Yes.
And
wow.
Ethel's eyes are now burnt into my soul. And I don't know, I can see the resemblance in you, Christine, and Louise, as it happens. She looks like she wants to hurt me.
Oh,
so,
actually, as a child, I looked just like Louise, but not as much with the veil and the flower thing on the head. But and actually, on my First Communion photo, it was the same day that Mount St. Helens erupted, and I was on crutches with a full leg cast, and so it looks. Mine is less.
That's a great photo.
Less picturesque, but a volcano exploding in the background, and crutches, and a white dress, and probably, whatever. Yeah, not this. This is an impressive photo.
It is. It just gave me the heebie-jeebies looking at it. And so I know that the cider's been sort of produced on the farm, but there's been a bit of a change recently. You've sort of outgrown the farm to an extent, and so you were looking for because you're based the farm's just outside of Portland, and you were looking for somewhere. Yeah. And this kind of like brewery with a tap room just kind of like popped up, turnkey, ready to go, right? It fell on your lap on Oak Street. Tell us about Bauman's on Oak.
Yes. So as you say, we outgrew the physical space of the building we were at on the farm and the capacity to, process our water because we were on septic and well. So we were hitting bumps all over the place and right in the middle of harvest season. So we were scrambling to get through harvest season last year. And then come November 1, our harvest fest winds down, the crowds go away, and we can start panicking in earnest. Whereas we just had to keep a grin on our face for that last of harvest. And then we said, we need to find a place now that we can start making cider at so that we have time to then build a new facility on the farm that would be all the things and have wastewater treatment and, a way to deal with all of the byproducts you create, the apple pumice, the wastewater, all of these things. So in order to do that, I instantly started looking around for warehouse space and, production type space. And there just was nothing close to the farm, which is, like you say, half an hour south of Portland, nothing nearby. And so then I started thinking, well, we might need to be in Portland, which was not a problem because of the 9 people on the team at the time, 7 of us live in Portland and the other 2 live near the farm. So we were all driving to the farm every day. And so I went to a distributor meeting with my distributor, and I said, hey, if you hear of any breweries that are closing, wineries that are closing that would work, I'm looking for 10,000 square feet, and I'm just, I'm looking, and I'm a little desperate. So what do you have? And he says, Christine, John Harris called this morning and they're closing both of their locations. You should check it out. I bet it's close to 10,000 square feet. And sure enough, it was 9,850. And I called him from that meeting. I went straight there to the facility. I looked at it and said, yes.
So you're saying first resume that's handed to you, and then the first property, like immediately.
Well, just wait. It gets even better. So I say yes to this facility, and I had gone there. It was a brewery years ago, Base Camp Brewing, and it had the coolest vibe. It was very outdoorsy and had this very Northwest thing about it, rock climbing, ropes, and whatever. So we used to go there. I used to love it. The tap room was gorgeous and just fun vibes. So fast forward, I see the production area, and that's all I care about is the production area. And the current owner or lessee says, well, and then there's the tap room. And I said, oh, I don't need a tap room. I'm going to use that for storage. That's great. And I really believed that at the time, like the last thing I need is a tap room. I am trying to make the best cider in the United States. What am I going to do in the tap room? So, so then I kind of sat with that, and I was like, I wonder what it would be like to have a tap room. And one of my production guys said, hey, you know what? I would love to do a few nights a week pouring cider in the tap room. So if we just open the doors, turn on the open sign, and let's just pour some cider. And I was like, that could work. Like the full tap system was already there. It had been operating as a brew pub, up until the moment I took it over. And so it's like, okay, maybe we'll do that. But first we've got to move a couple tanks in. We got to get stuff up and running. Cause again, it was desperate measures of not wanting to get into the busy season, which is spring and summer, and not be in place and ready and functioning fully with production. So I said, we'll worry about that in a minute. And the local newspaper, the Oregonian, did this big piece, and it aired January 2nd. And it said, Bauman Cider opening its first, Portland production facility, first time off the farm, and look for a tap room in the spring. And then I got an email that night. Well, first of all, I forgot one little piece. When I took it over, signed the lease, and I have a friend who's a chef and an incredible, world-class chef. And I said, hey, Daniel, do me a favor, come and look at this kitchen in this new whatever tap room that I just acquired, and tell me if it's the kind of thing I could lease it out to a food truck or some chef who wants a catering center hub, right? And he came in and he says, I'll run your food program. And I said, no. I don't have a food program. I don't have a restaurant. That's not what I'm asking. Can I rent this kitchen out to somebody else to do some other thing? And he said, no, I'll do it. I'll do your food program. And I'm like, I don't have a tap room. I don't have a kitchen. I don't need this. But I just was like, okay, I can't deal with that. I have to work on production. And so, so then this big article comes out January 2nd, and it's a glorious article, very, very thoughtful and generous, and points to some of our achievements over the years. And I get an email that night from a very well-known restaurant character in Portland, and he's worked at some of the best, well, all of the best restaurants in Portland. First as a chef, not first as a chef, first as probably a guy who cleared tables and then washed dishes, and then worked his way up as a chef, and then he ran front of house, and he did the wine buying for The Pigeon, which is truly, I think, named Restaurant of the Year or something in the US a couple years ago. Exceptional restaurant. And so this guy's been the general manager at Le Pigeon, and he emails and he says, "Hi there, my name is Chris Lemina, and I, have been at Le Pigeon and Canard for 6 years, and I've been feeling like it's time for something new, and I didn't know what new was going to be. And then I saw this article, and I was like, that's where I'm going."
And so new is going to be dirty fingernails and bringing the funk.
How is your business model? Like Buster Keaton with like the wood, you're just like walking along, and then
I have a set of dice, and I just throw the dice, and it's ones every time. It truly, Martyn, I don't even know.
Is Portland just that kind of city? Is that, a place that, people?
I would say that, yeah, Portland is a very special and very connected little city. And so everybody knows each other. Everybody kind of like has an awareness of the community around them, and it's quite special. But that was still a little exceptional.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say, oh, it's nothing to do with you. It's all Portland.
Yeah.
I kind of, you've obviously you've created something in a city that appreciates, hard work and creativity, and you've managed to pull all these people together in an amazing way, and that's super exciting.
But do they, the people, actually love pineapple cider and not botanic normal cider?
What other flavors have you got, Christine?
Well, I'm gonna give you a little background, Martyn. When I first started making cider, my vision and my business model then was I will only make cider with what we grow on our farm. Mm-hmm. That was like my box that I had made for myself because I cared, and I wanted to like showcase this special thing. And having grown up on a farm, like we didn't buy our food at the grocery store. There was very little that we bought outside of what we grew and what we fished for and what we caught and what we, raised and harvested ourselves. And so that was that's my mentality, and it's always been that way. And so here I was starting this new company, and I'm like this is my oyster. This is what I'm going to make, is what we grow right here. And it was very exciting to me. And I would tell that story every chance I got. I would go to these, brew fests, and I would go to these events, and I would say, so I made this cider, with this fruit, and my grandpa planted it, and and people would say, do you make a pineapple cider? And I was like, no, we don't grow pineapple. Pineapple don't grow here. And I'm not kidding you. I could barely trip on a person without hearing, do you make a pineapple cider? Could you make a pineapple cider? Have you ever tried pineapple cider? And I just was like, we don't grow pineapple cider. And I was so like assaulted by this every day, and I didn't want to hear it again. And we have this cider festival that we host on the farm where we invite, 10 or 20 other cider makers to come, and we all pour our ciders, and we each had to bring one of the ciders we were pouring had to be a brand new original cider just for this event. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to break my own rule this one time, and I'm going to buy some pineapple, and I'm going to puree it in my little food processor, which no longer functioned after that. And I made this pineapple cider that was quite delicious. It was just apples and pineapple, nothing else, but tasted like crack. Just people were going crazy for it. And at this cider festival, we would do a People's Choice vote where everyone got to have a vote for their favorite cider. And, probably 2,000 people were there. And I think 1,990 of them voted for that pineapple cider. Of the 30 ciders that were being poured that day, everybody. And I was like I really went home that night, and I was like, what have I done? Like, I think I missed something.
You've just made some money.
Cares.
You've become a profitable cider maker. Welcome to the very rare club.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that day I balled up my principles and I threw them out the door. No, it just occurred to me. I was like, maybe it means more to expose more people to what I still felt was a very authentic cider that was nothing but, fresh fruit put together. And it changed me a little bit. And so then I, just started, I'll make cider made out of anything now. Just kidding. I don't make it out of anything. We still are pretty committed to whole fruits and as few of ingredients as possible. And that feels great to me, but I'm no longer stuck. And we've outgrown the capacity of growth on the farm. So now we're buying from orchardists all over the state. And even from Montana, we buy some McIntosh apples.
Yes, but but with the pineapple, it's one where you're like widening the pool of drinkers you're just getting more cider drinkers, even if it's in our eyes, in some sense, a bastardized version. But like, have you seen people's tastes change since the start to now? Like the average person coming up, would they ask for a pineapple one, or is it starting to get a bit more involved, educated, and understood?
Yeah, I would say that. Hopefully there will always be people who have never had a cider before and come to cider for the first time. And if it tastes good, if it tastes not good, that's the wrong word, like sophisticated, dry, tannic ciders taste good. But if it tastes like something that's not so challenging for them, that they're like, this tastes like a thing that I've had or a thing that I love, pineapple or bananas or whatever. Hopefully not. Yeah. Then that they're in the door. They're in the door and we've got them. We shut the door, we lock it, and then we force them to take that journey with us into dry.
Shove some pineapple cider in the mouth.
Hang on, yeah. Does do Ethel and Louise appear at that point? That's quite a scary type thing.
Stay with us, drinking cider forever and ever.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
You'll never
I
leave.
am thinking when we build our new facility, there should probably be like a little. Like a program where you walk in and these two they greet you, but it's like robots and you follow them and you take this journey through the past and then to a pineapple cider and then everybody's happy and then like the ground drops out from under you.
Oh,
okay,
like
we'll work on that.
Oh no, tannin.
Now, I believe the city rather than the town of Gervais. That's where the farm sits on. It's a city. It's like 2,500 people. Why is it a city?
No. It's not that. It's like 200 people.
Okay,
and it's not a city. It's a tiny town.
Nice bit of wiki research there, Gabe. Well done.
Yeah. Okay, got that wrong. Thank you, Martyn. Will, have you ever invited? We need to invite to the next Bauman's Big Cider Fest Ricky Gervais as well. Surely the most famous Gervais that there is. Is there a link? If he's ever on tour in the States? Do you think we could lure him with cider? Do we know if he's a cider fan? Don't think he's ever mentioned anything, but
that's a great sponsorship opportunity for a superstar to have his own little. What do they call that? Like a personality project or a,
vanity project.
Vanity project.
He's cider vain. He's way more vain than cider vain. He's yeah.
Well, Joseph Jervis was actually a French fur trapper. Oh. And that's for whom the town is named. Wow. I've never met him. Nice. But it's quite old.
Do you know what fur trapper sounds like? A right West Country cider. Like if you had that in a bit.
Yeah.
Pint of fur trapper, boss. Thank you.
Christine, we dare you to name a cider fur trapper.
Because we soaked a raccoon in the barrel or something.
Exactly. It's the Oregon version of the rat in the barrel. I love it.
Yes.
Gloss over that one, Christine.
You're writing this down. No, she's writing it all down. That's what she's doing.
I want so badly to. I'm sending you a photo, Gabe, and I'm trying to figure out how to make this. Oh, I did it. Okay. Sending you a photo that you'll get in a sec. And
holy shit.
Yeah. This is my what do you see?
It's a photo of Jeff, Christine's very, very good man, next to who or what is that?
He's the shorter of the two.
Sleestack.
Sleestack.
Thank you.
Sleestack. It's Sleestack.
Thank you.
He came to our cidery this week.
Are you saying
Right.
sea slack?
It's Slee Stack. It's a TV show from the late 70s, early 80s.
Lost in
Space. Lost in Space.
Lost in translation.
Oh, wait, was it Lost in Space?
Absolutely, Gabe.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. And he showed up the other day in the tap room for a wedding.
It's Land of the Lost is the TV show. It's Land of the Lost.
Yeah, Land of the Lost. There was a wedding that people had reserved, a part of the tap room to use for a wedding party. And the husband surprised the bride with having Sleesack be the
registrar,
priest,
maid of honor.
Yeah,
He married them.
the officiant. He married them. And is available for you as well.
I just all the registration in like.
What does this?
They hiss a lot and they speak a little bit of English, but the show was about a family who was river rafting in Colorado, and then there was an earthquake and they fell down and they went back to dinosaur times, and the Slee Stacks were aliens that lived on the land during the dinosaur times. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
Christine and I know what's up. It's like you guys talking about Dr. Who, right?
He came with a resume, and I was like, yes, you're hired.
First resume you've read.
You're in here.
I have to say that I am actually also being slightly distracted by Jeff's lovely sandals. There's some real sort of strappy action, like it's quite Roman legionnaire. Yeah, across the toe. I find it a bit restrictive.
What's the single toe?
What's his name?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Jeff.
Jeff. So the sequel to Christine Smile is Jeff Sandals. They're going to be
Jeff's toe.
Jeff's sexy little toe. Oh, wiggle.
Oh, don't let Tom see that picture.
Well, myself and Mr. Oliver and a few other people had the privilege of staying with Christine and Jeff at their house at CiderCon this year, which will go down in history as the worst weather. Portland is not like New York State or Michigan or the sort of the Midwest, whereby snow is expected and everybody's sort of like suited and like ready for it. Portland is a bit like Gloucestershire. It'll get some snow or ice once or twice a year. The city will shut down for 2 days and then it's fine. It had the biggest snow and ice storm like for 10-20 years or something, and so the whole city shut down. So I turned up off the fly, expecting, to be like, I was going to get a train into town, easy peasy, and was going to go and stay. And we were going to hang out and watch the football that was on. It was the playoffs, and have some lovely food. And turned up to being picked up in the truck, having to dodge the fallen trees, 6 inches of snow, and quite literally sliding. You live at the bottom of a very steep hill, like sliding on my suitcase down the hill in the pitch black dark because all the power's out. Which obviously means all the heating is out as well as all the lighting. This is like -2 or something Celsius. What's that? I don't know, 20 Fahrenheit or something. And it just didn't come on for several days. And so we were camping effectively. It was a very fun camping. Just,
Our only warmth was Gabe's personality.
Oh, don't boost this ego.
Yeah, that give you an hour.
Yeah, that's
It was the best laid plans. Like I the first couple of days, were you there when I was still baking sourdough? Maybe not.
No.
Okay, before Gabe got there, because we had guests from around the world, and I made sourdough bread every day, and we were just the finest. And Darlene Hayes brought homemade cheese. We lived like kings. Until you got there and the power was out, and then no more sourdough, no more baking, no more lights, no more anything.
No more football,
no more. Oh no, we streamed onto the little iPad.
That's true. Instead, you just had myself, Tom Oliver, and several other people living in your basement with a toilet that needed to have electricity in order for the pump to work.
No.
That's what we were dealing with. So
nothing says get to know me without flushing the toilet in the only bathroom.
I think we
Wow.
all did
You
very
shared
well.
several rooms with Tom before.
I
You
have,
must be
but
used to that, right?
I have, but I've always been able to flush the toilets. That's all I can say. Once again, let's move things swiftly on. Christine, what? Obviously, you know, Bauman's on Oak is really exciting. There's all sorts of things going on. You're imminently about to come into harvest. What are the other kind of like big things on your immediate horizon, or kind of like slightly longer term with what's happening with Bauman's?
Yeah. What is happening with Bauman's? I mean, going into harvest, you have your harvest blinders on, and this year everything so far, knock on wood, is looking perfect.
Oh, you should
the
not
fruit
have said
is
that.
it's
What
a
are you
good fruit
doing?
set. Anyways, so once we get on the other side of harvest, we will start plans to break ground for a new facility for making cider on the farm. And it's really, I normally do a lot of traveling throughout the year. And this year I'd say almost none, because I'm so like this challenge of having a new tap room. We've now been open 3 months, and it's so consuming, but also this like high level of energy. And, we're getting written up as like top 5 restaurants to visit in Portland. And it's been amazing. And last night we hosted our second wood-fired pizza oven pop-up. Our chef is a baker, and he did pizzas and sold like 120 pizzas last night. And it was so amazing. And the place was packed, and all these like big deal people in the food world, people who over the years I've gone to their restaurants and I was like, oh my God, how did they do this? And they all came to my place, and now they're like, hey, we could do a dinner, we could do a pop-up together, and I'm like, oh my God, who am I?
I mean,
Yeah.
The chef Daniel, I do hate him somewhat. He's like buff. he looks like Bradley Cooper with a ponytail. I mean, he's pretty fine. I
think he's got a lot nicer calves than Bradley Cooper, honestly.
Oh, okay, all right. Well,
yeah. Those calves, I don't even understand it.
Don't need to be
like,
too
literally,
picky. Like,
people come into the tap room and they're like, "What's up with the chef's calves?" Seriously, you'll see.
So that's that's the cider after Jeff's toe, right?
Daniel's calves.
For sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Christine, for anybody who wants to learn a little bit more about Bauman's, where should they be heading on the interweb to find out all the details about products, Bauman's on Oak, the whole lot?
Well, on the interweb, they should go to their map feature and figure out how to get the next plane, train, car to Bauman's on Oak, because there's nothing better about. Oh, I forgot. The thing we're going to do is
close.
We're about to launch a tasting menu for the cidery, where you sit down and it's like a prefix experience, and you they're at the bar, like 10 seats, and then we do like course after course after course paired with a cider to talk about why cider and food is the greatest pairing ever.
Oh,
and
yes,
so it's huge and exciting, and like we're all so excited about like elevating the cider experience. And you know how like people consider, wine dinners, wine pairings and all of that wonderful, but cider is, as we know, we in this room know that cider is the much better pairing of all the things.
Things,
that's what we're doing.
Everything.
Yeah. All things, everything. So, and BaumanCider.com is the place to find us, or Bauman'sOnOak.com. And that should tell you everything you need to know, and some creepy family photos.
Yay! Go get your scare on. Christine, thank you so much for joining us here at the Neutral Cider Hotel. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for producing an absolutely exceptional cider. I'm looking forward to polishing off the rest of it tonight for sure.
Yay.
And Jesus, producer Scott has already polished off. Oh, this is going to be a late one. And all we can hope is to see you over here in the UK soon, and your ciders as well. We need to find you an importer so that we can drink it.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Often. Wouldn't that be a thing? So, Christine,
Love it.
thank you very much. Awesome to see you. Take care, my friend.
Thank you, each and every one of you. I appreciate you. Bye.
My tiramisu glass is nearly empty.
your tiramisu. I mean, that's a special vessel to be drinking from. And to be fair, quite the special cider to be drinking out of it. What do we think? We talked about it very briefly, probably not actually as much as we should have done with Christine, but it's quite the exceptional cider amongst, to be fair, many exceptional ciders that she produces. But yeah, I don't know whether I've tasted too many Kingston Blacks that have just got this intense fruitiness. Amazing stuff.
Usually when any Kingston Black I've had, you end up with like everyone has notes of and all this, and you come to everything with your own biases and all this. But Kingston Black is like, it's an appley apple, and it's like super juicy, fruity apple when it's ripe, and it's just apple. This is like, it's unlike anything from the UK I've had, which is immediately I was like, this is closer to all those Newtown. It's like, if I was to say anything, it's closer on the aroma to like our Foxwhelp. It's so wild, strawberry, mad, fruity, insane. And it smells like it's going to be such a sharp, zesty, juicy thing. And then it just tastes like it's just gold. It's so good. I didn't want to say to her, I was like, this is the best thing from America I've had. Like, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting... Yeah, I mean, everyone, you've all just basically said it. I wasn't expecting that level of juice, like
nuts,
and yeah, really beautiful soft tannins that it just like just sum up what tannin should be in a cider for me. Like just so approachable, so easy. Well, I know she was saying she wanted to go for funk, but
failed. You were correct. Failed.
Yeah,
when you said failed, it was bang on the money.
Absolutely none of that whatsoever. And I'm looking forward to her when she finally succeeds in the funk. But without it, it's incredible. I would give that to anyone. If we had that in the shop, it'd probably be in here for a day.
The go-to. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you just be like, right, well, what, I would sell that to someone who comes in looking for the first time for a cider like this. I would sell it to someone who has drank every cider in the shop and, is a super experienced and knowledgeable cider drinker. Like, I can't think of anyone who wouldn't drink this and enjoy it.
It's also all the more remarkable because it's bone dry as well.
Aye.
It does not.
I was saying, she's lying. She's lying.
But there is such, juicy, fruity, sweet sensations, but that's just from the intensity of the characteristics in there. As you can tell, listeners, we have quite enjoyed it.
Gabe, we've got the opportunity of a lifetime. Scott is also drinking the same thing. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Well, considering that, I think I finished the bottle before you guys.
Right, that's good to hear. Okay, so
fair enough. I have no notes other than it's great.
No.
I mean, you guys, as Grant said, you guys hit it all. It's very approachable. It's easy. It has a nice appley flavor. It's not overwhelming on any one side. It's just delicious. I just couldn't, through the whole interview, I was glad I wasn't asking questions because I could just keep drinking through the whole thing, and I just enjoyed it, every sip of it.
There we go. Quite possibly one of the finest ciders, if not the finest cider we have tasted here on the Neutral Cider Hotel. And we're up to episode 62 or something like that. So that's the sort of the regard that we're holding in. So my hyperbole in the intro to Christine saying about being one of the finest cider makers in the USA, I think was absolutely founded, absolutely sensational. So there we go. That's it. Now we're going to move on to our final segment of the show. It's time for Grant's Quiz Game. Okay, everybody, time to wrap up the show, and we've got Grant who's bringing us his quiz game. What's it all about?
So I spent more time than I would really like to spend listing all of our products on our website. Which is Aeble.co.uk if you don't know it. As first purposes of the game, it's not really a plug.
Okay.
But, we're past that now, remember?
Okay, we're post-plug.
So I like to put a little descriptor in at the bottom, tasting notes, pair with food and a song. So I'm going to give you you guys 3 ciders each, and I'm going to give you the things that I have paired it with on our website, and you have to guess the cider.
Fuck me, the charisma there, Grant.
Yeah,
I can give you. It's because I'm looking at it and I'm like, should I give them a bit more than that?
No, that's enough. I think we get it.
No.
You've written something to sell a product.
We're professional.
And we have to guess what the product is from what you've written. Perfect.
It's just what I've paired it with. I can go with full tasting notes if you want.
No. Fuck it.
Let's go. Let's go stupid. Who wants to go first? I've written out exactly which ones you're getting, so I know that.
I'll go first. I'll go first.
Okay. Right, you ready? You ready for this?
I'm in.
So, question number 1. What cider would I pair with hard cheese, croquetas, and Piriton so you can lie in a meadow at sunset allergy-free?
Is that a real tasting though? Is that a real match?
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive to add an antihistamine in as a food match.
One thing
this
I will
cider
say
will go well with Imodium. Yes.
One thing I will say,
especially in Perry.
The makers have all been on the podcast.
Okay.
That's a good link. Okay, good.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Is that because your range is actually small, or because we've had a big guess?
A bit of both.
So say it again. What have we got? We've got hard cheese,
croquetas, and Piriton, so that you can lie in a meadow at sunset allergy-free whilst drinking.
I'm going to say that the Piriton bit is just you being whimsical, unless there is a specific allergen link. I'm overthinking it. Hard cheese is like tannicky, but then not tanuki, like tannic-esque, tannic-y. But then the croquetas, you need some acidity to cut through that. So we're looking like a bit of sharp. So we're thinking somebody, could that be? Or I wonder if that's sort of Foxwell. But I'm gonna say Ross and Y. It's not Ross and Y.
It's not Ross and Y.
I would have said, is it? It's not Gold Rush, is it? No.
It's not Gold Rush.
Oh, mate.
It is Little Pomona, Old Man and the Bee.
Old Man and the Bee.
There you go. He gave us a link.
You said I was overthinking it. You double bluffed me.
Triple bluff, Joe.
I didn't do anything.
You did.
I just let you.
I said I'm overthinking, and you went, damn it. I was thinking like, is it with like some kind of
I was like, what allergens are in cider?
I thought you were nearly there with the tannins and the acidity, because that's kind of yeah. We can go. We'll go a half point for the maker, a half point for the cider, right? So if you get the maker, then you
yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
But you would have been wrong in both cases. So
Go on then.
okay, so Martyn, what would I pair with? Mother India dal, a Thai salad, and a dusty floor, a dim lamp, and your best people.
Oh. I'm going to take a wild guess. It's not something from Eve's, is it? Got it wrong. That's fine.
This one's slightly misleading, actually, because this one is Aeble house cider.
You bastard.
I know. So I now realise I'm like, shit, technically there's not a cider maker in there. And the cider maker that did make it hasn't been on the show. So
Do you know what? That's fine. That's fine. I think, as you've alluded to, I've been very fair with all my quiz games, so it's fine that you've been very fair.
Maybe it's payback.
Yeah.
And we will be tasting this cider in an upcoming episode, so we will see whether we agree that your tasting matches
I'm gonna
are
write that
on
down.
point. Yeah, write that down. Remember that. And
I mean,
we'll take
usually
you to
the
task.
first two are the ones that I take from the makers anyway. It's usually the last one that I stick in. But anyway, right, we
All
ready?
right. We're ready.
What cider would I pair with pork, cheddar, Caerphilly, or Lancashire cheese, and a table?
What would you pair with a table? A chair, stool. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's some wordplay going on here. Oh God, Lancashire. So cheese again. We're talking tannin.
And do you want me to stick in the song that I've got here?
Oh yes,
Paired it with.
yes.
You can get this too, Martyn.
Yeah.
So
well, listeners
this
didn't
has
see
been
my
paired with-
face, did they?
This has been paired with. This has been paired with "Be Our Guest" by Lumiere. From
I
Beauty
think
and
I've
the
got
Beast.
this.
I kind of want it to be Guatkin, but they haven't appeared on the show. I don't know whether you stock Guatkin, but
We do. We do.
but they haven't been on the show. That's what I would have. That's what I would have gone for. What is it again? A table.
A table.
Lancashire cheese, and what was the first bit?
Well, cheddar, Caerphilly, or Lancashire cheese, and pork, which is kind of a fairly generic cider pairing, but
Very generic. I'm going to go for something from Wilding. It's definitely sort of in that Somerset-y whimsical musical space. I don't know what's new from Wilding at the moment. Do they still do a Yarlington Mill single variety?
so half right.
Ooh.
It is Wilding. It is not Yarlington Mill.
So
Can I?
a bit-
Is it Table Perry? Oh,
No.
come on! I thought it was literally like the tape. I was like,
Well, what's their table cider?
comics.
Commis. Mais oui, Lumière, commis.
What are you doing? Are you having a stroke?
Comics, yes.
How are you working on like 7 double entendres?
Why not?
Layered.
Why not?
This is the
Septuple.
inception. Yeah,
Hold
this is
on.
the inception
So
of
Gabe
quiz game.
has a point.
I've
so-
got a half point.
No, you've got a half point.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Right, Martyn. Next up. Shit. What would
That's
I?
always a good sign.
Go on
I
then.
feel like I maybe should have thought through which ones I gave you. Which cider would I pair with a second can of this cider?
Oh, it's Nightingale, and is it Wild Disco? Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say another one, but I didn't know if that was too. Yeah, I don't want to give it away if now.
That was you kind of had like a 50-50 there on either Wild Disco or Nightbird.
Correct.
Oi. I would have gone for Wild Disco as well. If it's any consolation, Martyn. Suffer.
Let's go with Gabe's last one, which is which cider would I pair with apple pie, kidney bean chili, stars and or stripes?
Ooh. I'm going to hazard a guess that it's an American cider, possibly. Kidney beans probably needs a bit of oomph, a bit of spice. What was the other thing? Kidney beans and what?
Apple pie.
And apple pie and spice. So we're sweety, tannicky. So probably Eve's more so than Eden, if you got that. So I don't know what you had for Eve's. You had.
So sorry.
No.
You were still debating.
No. Well, thank you. Oh, is that what am I like maker wrong or?
Yeah, maker's wrong.
Oh, well, there you go then.
Okay. Wait, say them again.
What cider would I pair with apple pie, kidney bean chili, stars and or stripes? And would you like the song for this one, Martyn?
Go on, because I'm hearing Stars and Stripes, so American. But are you teasing me?
Maybe.
Oh,
so the song I would pair this cider with would be Death Cab for Cutie, Transatlanticism.
I think I know what it is now.
You're a wordplay prick, aren't you? Is it the Mayflower? Oh, there you go. Maybe he's got one.
Well, that's a full point, though.
That is a full point.
So you have to say the maker.
Oh, Tom Oliver. Sorry. There you go. That is like only from. you didn't give the music link.
Thanks for not giving me all of the clues in my own question.
Okay.
God damn it.
I don't know if that would. Okay. Right. Anyway, right. Martyn.
Go on.
So, which cider would I pair with sugar donuts, high tea, and a maniacal laugh?
Oh. Is that going to be In Touch? Would that be In Touch 3 by Pilton?
My word.
No! Oh!
So you get a half point for the maker.
Do I get to come in and have a go?
You do get to come in and have a go. Do you know what the...
Can I play?
Can I give you the tasting notes for it?
Oh, you prick. I know exactly what this is.
Have you seen it?
Of course I have. I saw it the day you wrote it, you fucking...
On the nose is bacon, tuna pasta, and hair. And on the palate, it's hair, pasta, tuna, and bacon.
I've not once made a joke about you.
Gabe, do you want to answer the guess?
I mean, I'm going to say I don't necessarily recognise those tasting notes so much. Do they belong to In Touch number 4?
Have you pulled it back?
They do.
Have you pulled it right back?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, I have 2 to 2.
Has it?
I have 2 to 2.
Oh, is it a tie?
We're 1.5 each, aren't we? Or was it 2?
I have 2 to 2.
So I've got...
Yeah. No, because Gabe's only got 1.5, right?
Has Martyn got 2 points?
Martyn got a half for this one. Then he had 1.5 before because he had a half previously, and then he got 1.
Oh no! So then I just got a half.
Oh, so you did.
Did I get
Right,
a half originally though?
Fuck's sake, it's 2-2, guys.
Okay.
Listen to the man.
Come on then.
Okay,
Come on.
Come on then.
Right.
Give us this tie break.
Okay.
Inevitable. It was going to happen.
So,
I can't believe
what cider would I pair with organic mild blue cheese, rich beef stew, and face paints for painting your face, not eating?
face paints.
Your website is weird, Grant. That's all I'll say.
Aebleweird.com.
And the song is Taylor Swift Anti-Hero.
What are you talking about?
I'm going to...
Buzz in.
I don't know whether you stock a buzz. Schmergen. Is it Burrow Hill Ice Cider?
It's a maker that also has been on the show. It's from their most recent batch of releases. And if you'd seen it or read the label, all these things would make sense.
Wait, say it again. Say it again.
So organic mild blue cheese, rich beef stew, and face paints for painting your face, not eating.
Oh, is it artist straw? And I can't even guess. Would it be just the old ways? That's fine. That's fine. I'll take the win.
Yeah, you got the win. It was artist straw Eadric Sylvaticus.
Oh yeah, it
Of
rolls off
course
the
it
tongue.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
because it was the Green Man.
Oh my god, you're like a stand-up comedian that's like at the room.
Described.
No, it's a green man. A green man. The paints are for the green man. The punchline is not working.
I think you guys scored more points than we have in previous quizzes, though, so it wasn't quite as bad as I thought it would be.
I scored more in that than I did in Gabe's quiz.
Yeah, exactly. Which was all based on his course, that cider course that he ran.
It was a quiz. That was a quiz game like yours. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, it was. Which actually was undertaken at Bauman's on Oak. So there it is,
That's right.
coming full circle.
I think you did pretty well there, guys.
I'm going to tell you for free,
I'm
the
quite impressed.
only reason I got that is because you said, what did you say? Face painting. How did you phrase it? Face paints, not for
Painting your
eating,
face, not eating.
which is the glue, isn't it? I was like, oh, I know who this is.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not. It's the
Are you joking? I thought
that is the name of the wassailing.
Yeah, I got that
face.
it's Green Man, but I thought you were referencing when he was eating all the glue things.
Glue.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the only way I won is because I got something that wasn't related. Perfect.
It wasn't even related, right? Okay.
Genius.
Because I did wonder why you couldn't then get the cider, because it's like the label is the green face.
No, I got there through the glue connection.
Right. Okay. Him eating glue.
By the medium of glue, you win. Martyn, congratulations. Well done. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Not bitter. Grant, well done for pulling that together. And I just feel for your customers who have to decipher the third matching note of weirdness. But it's quite entertaining. So
It is. It's fun.
I
right?
love
It's fun.
I love
It's
the
fun.
ramblings of a very attractive man. That is. I'm only flirting now. I've won. If I'd have lost, you'd have been the ugliest guy I've ever seen.
I thought you had it hard as well, and I felt bad after that first one.
I mean, no need to talk about my life. Let's close.
on that bombshell, we're going to wrap up the show there. Chaps, any final takeaways from our chat with Christine or anything else?
Yeah.
What did we learn?
If you're in America, buy the Kingston Black single variety. Like, obviously not as loud as we were with the Dorita in lockdown. I've got a baby upstairs. I wanted to scream that loud. Trust me, it was that good.
I cannot wait. It's jumped right to the top of my list of cider places in the US to visit, and previously probably wasn't even on there. So,
well, it's just open.
Yeah, it's
yeah, of course. Otherwise, it'd be just like knocking on her like front door.
just don't go there in a power cut if you want to use the loo. And that's gonna do it for another episode of the Neutral Cider Hotel. Thanks again to Christine Walter from Bauman Cider for a fab chat, chinwag, and tasting of this amazing cider. Boys, thank you very much. And thank you, dear listener, for joining us on this amazing adventure. We really do appreciate you more than you know. So until next time, stay cool, support independent cider makers, and wassayola. If you enjoy our podcast and want to help, then please do spread the word about the Neutral Cider Hotel. Tell your friends about this episode and encourage them to listen. You can also follow, rate, and review us on Apple Podcast and Spotify. 5-star reviews are greatly appreciated, and your reviews really, really do help us out. Also, please find and follow us on the social media. We are at Neutral Cider Hotel on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Threads, TikTok, and Blue Sky. As always, you can visit us on our website to listen online or share episodes at www.neutralciderhotel.net. And lastly, please do reach out and leave us a voicemail with your questions or comments at speakpipe.com/Neutral Cider Hotel.